Can you believe it? It is the last WWE pay-per-view of 2020, and sometimes they have come so thick and fast. I thought this year was never going to end, but really that had nothing to do with wrestling. That's because the last 12 months have pretty much been absolutely crazy. But let's say goodbye to it in the right way and try and predict what is going to happen. If you have watched my prediction videos before, you know I'm really good at this, and I'm on a perfect streak. Once again, that is a massive lie. I think usually I get about 1 in 10 right, which means I absolutely suck. I'm also Simon from WhatCulture, and let's predict TLC, also known as Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, right now. We will start with the New Day versus the Hurt Business for the Raw Tag Team Championship in the feud that is never going to end. But I think there has to be a reason why it's never ending, and that's because the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, they need to walk away from the pay-per-view with some gold around their waist or over their shoulder, depending on how they want to hold the titles. And I love the New Day, I love Kofi Kingston, I love Xavier Woods. To me, they will be legends until the day I die, but there is no reason to have continued this on to the point that we have unless you're going to give it to the Hurt Business, especially because the Hurt Business right now are like the up-and-coming exciting guys, even though 2 of them are veterans. I don't care about that. They need something, give them the belts. This is doubly true because Cedric Alexander and his new character are some of the most interesting things going on Monday Night Raw, and he is going to be even more sufferable and therefore even better if he has championship around his waist or around his shoulder, as we've just discussed. My only real fear is that the reason they're not going to win is because he does his over-the-top celebratory nonsense, which means they somehow lose and then he gets kicked out of the group. We do not need to do this. In fact, MVP and Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley should embrace all of it, and they should encourage Cedric to be even more of a dick and just allow him to come out the other side feeling like a bigger star. Because I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit sick and tired of WWE not creating any new stars. There's also a massive get out of jail free card right here, because WWE doesn't care about the amount of shenanigans they do on any shows. MVP will obviously be on the outside. Just have him clock Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston right in the face. The referee won't see it because WWE officials are basically blind. 1, 2, 3, they escape with the belts. It just makes all the sense in the world. It also does mean that we have to do the match again, but we're probably going to do it anyway, so at least this one would be a bit better. Do it. And speaking of the tag team titles, we're also getting a women's tag team title match, which is Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax defending their belts against Asuka and somebody we don't know. It's a mystery, because despite building Lana up for around about 42 years, she is just out of the game. She's out of the deal, and I have absolutely no idea why. Which means we now have to sit down and try and figure out who this could be, and for my money, there is 3 options. Now, the most obvious one would be Mandy Rose, because she came back on Raw, but she's in a tag team with Dana Brooke. So it could be Dana Brooke, but why would they leave one tag team to join Asuka? So then you have to start doing some mental gymnastics, and really, it's probably just going to be Lacey Evans. I know you were expecting a bigger name, but it's probably going to be Lacey Evans, or it's going to be Peyton Royce, because that's just what WWE does. They just look through the names and go, we'll just grab that person, we'll throw them in. But there is an outside chance too, given that she has been very active on social media recently, that it could be Charlotte, I suppose. And I know it's going to melt the internet down. I don't think it's very likely to happen, but I do like that twist. I think the best thing you can do is Charlotte comes back, she teams with Asuka, they beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, because look, those two are just not working. They'd be better in singles competition. And then you can kind of do the same story you did with Sasha Banks and Bayley, but you do it with Charlotte and Asuka, and eventually they have a fight at WrestleMania. Because no matter what you think about any of these individuals, every time Asuka and Charlotte have a match, it's pretty much excellent. I know that makes me a massive hypocrite, because I have stood on my soapbox time and time again and been like, separate the championships. I want a separate feud for the women's title, and I want a separate feud for the tag team titles. But if WWE is not going to do that, then this is a much preferred option. But still, as I've now said it, please eventually do it. I also don't think you're going to get a mystery partner, and then you're going to have the good guy tag team lose. So yeah, I'm going with Asuka, and whoever this will be, unless it's Lana. There is a small chance that it will be Lana. You know what WWE likes to do, and if it is Lana, then I actually think they'll lose. And one of the more stranger matches of the evening, we're also going to get Bray Wyatt or The Fiend taking on Randy Orton, and honestly, this could probably go one of 10,000 ways, and I'm not going to be able to predict any of them. I do want to point out that it kind of feels like a fight that we didn't have to make, because what is the good option here? Randy Orton has already lost a lot in 2020. I don't think you want to make him lose again, because he does feel like a main event player, and you want to keep that power alive. But The Fiend, my word, The Fiend hasn't been protected as good as he should have been either. I don't want to see him lose going into 2021. In fact, he should absolutely be winning here, and he should be setting up for an amazing 12 months where he gets revenge on all of his enemies, every single last one of them. Alexa Bliss has also been off TV for the last couple of weeks, so I guess she could come here and just go, "Hey Randy," and he gets distracted and then, I don't know, has a finger shoved in his mouth. But when I look at it from afar, Bray Wyatt's got to win. Bray Wyatt has got to win. The Fiend character needs a little something extra to me to keep it interesting, and you can't do that by losing. Otherwise, you're going to enter original Bray Wyatt territory, and original Bray Wyatt territory is why we had to give birth to The Fiend to begin with. Not me personally, I didn't pop him out, but somebody did. I think out of every single match that we do have on TLC though, if you don't like Gaga and you don't like nonsense, well, you should probably just avoid this. I think it's going to become absolutely nonsensical. But I'm going to get behind Bray Wyatt, although yeah, I really have no idea how this is going to end. Moving back to SmackDown, the Women's Championship will also be on the line as Sasha Banks takes on Carmella. Now, if you do watch my Ups and Downs series, you will know that I just haven't clicked with this. I don't really understand the feud, I don't really understand the story, I don't really understand the characters, but I have the fear here for kind of the reasons we just talked about. Because why the hell would you introduce Carmella with this brand new entrance and this brand new persona and making her feel like, oh my gosh, she's so excited she's back, and then have her challenge for the title and lose? That makes her a loser, because of course it does, but Sasha Banks has only just won the flipping belt. If there's one problem that Sasha Banks has had over the last few years, is that her title reigns last about 32 seconds. It also just comes across as so rushed. It feels like Carmella just went, yeah, hey babe, can I have a title match please? And she just went, yeah, I mean, we gotta do something, so we may as well just do that. But ultimately, I'm trying to look at the bigger picture here, and Sasha Banks should be holding on to this title till at least WrestleMania, where I personally would somehow do another match between Sasha Banks and Bayley, but what the hell do I know? So, Sasha Banks wins after the Banks statement, and hopefully she just kicks Carmella's ass. Carmella is fine, but she doesn't need to be in this spot right now. Which leaves us with 2 TLC stipulation matches to talk about, because of course we have to do that given it's the name of the pay-per-view, otherwise the whole thing will burn down. And we shall start with Drew McIntyre taking on AJ Styles, with the disappointment being that it is a tables, ladders and chairs match. I've never seen these two wrestle. You could have started with just a simple one-on-one. It's filler though, isn't it? It's filler. I love AJ Styles, and I think when he does retire, he will go down as one of the best professional wrestlers ever, but he's just being put here so that Drew McIntyre can have a really good match with him, but he's gonna get Claymored, and then Drew will climb the ladder and he'll grab the championship. That's that. There is no way that AJ Styles is winning this belt. There is simply no way, and if he does, I will shave my head. I know, big stakes going on here. As I do have the opportunity to talk about it once more though, I want to remind you all that on the latest episode of Raw, we did have the WWE title Ascension ceremony. And I'm recording this 4 days after that Monday night show, and I've laughed about that every single flipping day. The WWE title Ascension ceremony. Who comes up with this stuff? And more so, why do they allow it on TV? But yes, Drew has to come out the victor here. It would establish him as an even better babyface champion, because he's never been in a TLC match, so if he wins one, he go, hey, you can add that to my CV. And Styles, he's got his character down, and he has so much tenure at this point, he could lose until he does go away, and he'd still be the flipping best. And eventually the Miz and Morrison will get involved, but McIntyre beats them up all the time anyway. I hope he boots the briefcase right into Miz's face, and the briefcase just disappears, and the Miz is no longer allowed to try and cash it in. I'm just so done with it, and I don't even know why. But yes, if you do want my predictions, Drew McIntyre wins. Maybe the Miz does try and cash in his Money in the Bank. Hey, maybe he actually goes all the way with it, but he will not walk away as the champion. And it's kind of the same for our other TLC match, which is Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Again, I think Kevin Owens is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now, but he's simply there for Roman Reigns to have an opponent. It doesn't mean they won't have a great match, and I actually think the stipulation is going to help these two. I mean, Roman Reigns is like a psychopath murderer to begin with, and we've seen what Kevin Owens is like when he's in the ring. He doesn't care. If you want me to call my match of the night, well, it would be this one. They also have a great story. They've got defined roles, so I can boo Roman Reigns and I can really cheer Kevin Owens, but you can't take the championship off Roman Reigns right now. It basically establishes his entire persona. You need to build it, build it, build it, build it. Honestly, when I think about it, I don't think you should take it off him till WrestleMania 38. That's right, that's basically a 1.5-year title run. My main concern is that we have some plans for Kevin Owens coming out the back of this, because it was just so nice to see him put in a proper big top man feud, because before that, he was kind of just floating along, not doing anything. To the point, as he admitted in a recent interview, he was pitching tag teams with everyone. He wanted to tag with Sami Zayn, he wanted to tag with Daniel Bryan, but WWE didn't pull the trigger on any of it. Do you not understand what you have with Kevin Owens WWE? He is brilliant. Treat him like a brilliant man. But yes, Roman Reigns will win. Probably Jey Uso will do something, so you kind of save face for KO a little bit. Roman Reigns will win, and of course, Roman Reigns, he's our tribal chief. Make sure at Christmas or your holiday season, no matter what kind of table you're sitting around, leave the head position free, just in case Roman knocks and he wants to come sit down. That is his seat, nobody else deserves it. Given the state of WWE these days, they always announce things super last minute as well, so I'm just gonna guess what could happen and I'll predict them as well. So you could get Matt Riddle versus Bobby Lashley for the United States title. I'm gonna say that Bobby Lashley wins, but we get a rematch and Riddle wins that one. The Street Profits versus Rude and Ziggler, that's been teased, could be set up on SmackDown. You do not want to take the belts off the Street Profits, so do not do it. Big E versus Sami Zayn, after Sami Zayn kind of cheated but kind of didn't to win in their last match, and if we do get there, Big E finally has to become the IC champion. Start the push already. And talking about Jey Uso, which we did a couple of minutes ago, you could do Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Daniel Bryan could win that one, and then it sets up DB to take on Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know all your predictions for the match. I always take a look at them, and there's one guy who was just smashing it. He actually does get everything right. I'm super proud of him. Then like the video, share the video, and hit the subscribe button. WhatCulture.com if you want to read up about wrestling, at WhatCulture WWE if you love Twitter. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Make sure that you do enjoy WWE TLC 2020. It is the end of the year, and when you do get entertained, the only winner is you.